Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, how you all doing? I hope you're having a fantastic day. So we're here today with the preview of the upcoming Bundesliga season. Now, the fun fact about all of this is very simple. It's gonna be a great season. Last season, my big prediction was that Leipzig would be our predominant title challengers, and while it wasn't quite the case, they were just behind Dortmund. I do think this season that they're going to be our big challengers. Now, I want to start this off by going from the top to bottom. I know usually you'd want to go from bottom to top, but there's a very specific reason why I think I want to go from the top to bottom, and you'll get that why. So let's talk about the teams. Let's talk about the teams involved here. So, top. Who do I think will win the Bundesliga? Suspense. Suspense. Fake suspense. Nah, it's Bayern. It's straight up. It's Bayern. We're going to win the Bundesliga. We have the best squad. And we're just the most consistent team. I don't really think more we have the best squad, we are hungry, and we have the most consistent team. I don't think much more needs to be said beyond that. And I'm wearing this shirt on purpose today because I'm talking about number 2 next, I think Leipzig. And I'm wearing the shirt on purpose because obviously Coca-Cola cans Leipzig. Haha, yeah, no. Red Bull, not quite. It's not the same company, but Coca-Cola owns Monster Energy. We're the Monsters. They're just the Red Bulls. No, okay, that's a terrible. Okay, cool. I say that. I've got Pepsi. I'm a traitor. But yeah, I think we're going to be first, and I think Leipzig is going to be second. Now, the reason why I think that is because I feel like Leipzig have made good signings so far. Obviously, they had a big hole to fill with replacing Timo Werner, which of course is never going to be easy, and we're still we're gonna see how exactly they'll manage to do that. But in terms of their squad, they permanently signed Angelino, who I thought did pretty well for them, and obviously got better and better. And I do feel like he's going to be a player. He's going to be the key left back of this upcoming season. Then you also have Hwang Hee-chan, who they got from Salzburg, who did pretty good at Salzburg in terms of like his stats and whatnot. I believe, I don't have the stats here, but I believe he got around like 15 assists, 10 goals, give or take, something like that, like 10, 15 goals, 10, 15 assists, which is relatively good. He's obviously already played the DFB Pokal game, the first game of that competition, and he scored a goal. Granted, it was in the last minute, but he did score a goal. So I do think he's going to be very much a threat for them, and I do feel he's going to be obviously not quite the Timo Werner replacement, but I feel like they're tactically flexible enough to really prove that they are dangerous. And I feel like from that perspective, I feel like if you look at last season, they had 4 losses. I think. They had 4 losses. They had a crazy tiny amount of losses. I think they had 4 losses, and we had 4 losses as well. So they had the equal amount of losses than us. They had a lot less losses than Dortmund. And they just had too many draws. And if they can slowly, get those turn those draws into victories, then I think they're going to be second in the Bundesliga, which leaves for 3rd place Borussia Dortmund. Now, Borussia Dortmund, they're not selling Sancho, they're not selling Haaland, and the thing was that Royce was out for a significant portion of the season for them. So if Royce now who is back, if they keep their squad healthy, if they keep their squad fit, they're going to be a very serious threat. And quite frankly, they're a team that is always a very serious threat. They're just a team that is always inconsistent. They'll beat one team 5-0 and then they'll lose the next game 2-0. It's like, how does that make sense? So I'm not banking on them being consistent. I think they're going to be as inconsistent as they always are, which means that I think they're going to get third, with Leipzig surpassing them. Leipzig are much more ambitious as well, so I think Leipzig have they will want to try and win it, whereas Dortmund, they're kind of settled at their 2nd spot, which is a shame because like a few years ago I remember like me being like the only person on obviously on YouTube saying this in my comment section was all like, nah, you're wrong. But like I used to say that Dortmund, they could challenge us for the title, because back then they were a lot more ambitious. Nowadays they're not. Nowadays they're not. Nowadays I'm like, yeah, I don't expect anything of them. If we play them, I think we beat them 5-0. Like I don't expect much of them. Whereas in previous years I was like, yeah, in my previous Bundesliga prediction I was like, yeah, they're a good team. they could really challenge us for the title. Those days are long gone, all right, ladies and gentlemen. Those days are long gone. Now, in terms of who I think will come fourth, we have Bayern first, Leipzig second, Dortmund third, and I think the team that will come in fourth will be Leverkusen. Why do you think Leverkusen? Leverkusen is a team that I always feel is underachieving based on the players they have. I always feel like they're a team that could be doing significantly better based on the players they have, but they just never really managed to do that step up. And I feel like, fourth is going to be the position that they'll find themselves in. They're going to be in that kind of range where, like, you really could expect them to make third or so on and so forth, but like they won't. You could really see them win the Europa League, but they won't. You could really see them win the Champions League, but actually, no, you can't see them win the Champions League. But you could really see them win the Europa League, and it's like, no, they won't. You can really see them win the cup, and they're like, nah, they won't. So, like, 4th, 5th is really their spot, and I'll give them a little bit more credit this season and put them in 4th. They are looking at some very interesting targets, but so far, nothing really, nothing has been really done from that perspective. But we will see. Obviously, they've lost their talisman, but still, they're a team that right now has a bunch of money, and they're looking at replacements, and they want to compete. They want to go up there. They want to play good, and just from that perspective, they have that firepower as well. They have that firepower as well, so I think they can do some serious damage at 4th. That leaves us at 5th. Gladbach. I think Gladbach will become 5th. They were very good last season and very close, but then kind of just fell off as the season continued. I think they were first at, by the winter break or something, and then it kind of just fell off. So Gladbach, for me, they're also a very young team. In terms of inexperience, not so much player age, but like a very young team in terms of, and very, let's call it naive team, in terms of age, in terms of how they play. They are very much in a Dortmund category, where both Borussia, I guess, but they're very much in a Dortmund category where they'll beat one team 5-0 one week and then lose the next game 2-0. It's like, how? But they are a good team. They are a good team. They don't quite have the individual talent like the other teams do, but they are a very well drilled team. But for me, they'll come in 5th. Now, who does that leave for 6th? For 6th, I've got who? Actually, I was just about to say it, but something stopped me. Something stopped me from saying it, but I will say it regardless. Wolfsburg. I think Wolfsburg will come in 6th. And my reason for that is, at that point, it's very difficult for me to say, but my reason for this is that Wolfsburg, to me, has always been a threat, but has never been a threat. They've always been this looming threat, but they've never really made anything from that looming danger. They just kind of like hop in, do their thing, and that's really it. So I can't give you a real reason why I think Wolfsburg will be 6th. Last season they ended up in 7th. I think they can pretty much replicate that, get one position better. And I do think number 6 and number 7 are going to swap. I'll obviously get that in a second. But I think Wolfsburg will be 6th. And I think the team that will be 7th will be Hoffenheim. Now, the reason I think those two things will happen is because Hoffenheim will obviously be in the Europa League. And just from that perspective, I do feel like they are going to be, wearing themselves thin. And that's why that change in position will happen for me. Whereas if you look at the other teams, us, obviously, we have the squad. I was about to say it. No, I'm not going to. We have a squad, all right? That's what I'll leave it at. Not squad depth. We have a squad, all right? Dortmund, they have a squad, all right? Leipzig, they have a squad, all right? Gladbach, they have a squad, I guess. Leverkusen, they have a squad. They have money as well right now. So, Hoffenheim and Wolfsburg, I think those two will Wolfsburg has the experience. Hoffenheim, not so much. So I feel like Wolfsburg will be 6th with Hoffenheim at 7th. In 8th place, I see Frankfurt. Now, Frankfurt last season was 9th. They were a team that, has been plagued by them losing their best players. Not just the best players, the best people, with their manager and their players. But they're still a team that has found themselves to do relatively well. And if their form at the end of last season is anything to go by, with them getting 3 goals, sorry, not 3 goals, with them winning 3 games, getting 1 draw, and losing 1 game at the end of the season in the last 5 games, then if they can keep that momentum going, there was a break, granted, but it wasn't a significant break. If they can keep the momentum going, I think they are gonna make it to 8th place. 9th place, Freiburg. Now, Freiburg last season was 1 place ahead of Frankfurt, but that really doesn't say much. That really doesn't say much. Frankfurt was on 45 points. Freiburg was on 48 points. So there is a little bit of difference, but I feel like with the form that Frankfurt showed at the end of the season, granted, Freiburg had the same form, but like with the way those two will battle it out, I do feel like Frankfurt will come out ahead. And from that perspective, I do feel like those two are going to switch positions, with Frankfurt being 8th and Freiburg being 9th. Beyond that, 10th. So maybe a surprise pick to people, Schalke. Schalke, a team that was almost at the point of going bankrupt 2 or 3 weeks ago. Since then, they've made some signings where they're paying wages. I actually very much appreciate that like them paying the wages, they're really just paying performative wages, which is actually really, really cool. That former players would go back and do something like that. I very much appreciate that from players. But they're a team that has a bunch of potential, but also is just very, very bad at the same time. They're both at the same time, which is crazy. Now, last season they finished in 12th. In the last 5 games of the season, they lost 3 times and drew twice. So why am I putting them at 10th? Yeah, you may think I'm stupid, which I might be. They might get relegated. They could honestly get relegated. That's how bad they are. But they have a talented academy. Such a talented academy that if it really boils down to, they could play the kids, and the kids could probably get 15 points out of 30, which should be enough to just kind of push them onwards, be kind of like the middle of the road, middle of the table. So I do think they're going to end up being just below at 10th place. 11th, Hertha Berlin. Last season they were 10th. This season I think they're going to be 11th. They haven't really strengthened that greatly. They haven't really lost that greatly, lost players that greatly. But what the other teams have done really is what's going to push them like 1 position down. They're a team that is streaky. One time they look very, very good. Another time they don't look good at all. That's kind of how they are. That's kind of how most teams honestly are around this table. But they are the definition of kind of just patchy. Just all over the place. And I feel like from their perspective, I do think they're going to get 11th. Now 12th I think will be Mainz 05. That is probably where you kind of expect them to be. Last season they finished 13th. Just kind of in that lower middle position, not at the relegation spots, not really, not really fighting for the Champions League spot, just kind of around there, and that's where ultimately I think they'll end up at 12th. This kind of my same thought process really goes to the next team as well, which is Cologne, who I think last season was 14th. This season I have them at 13th. Similar kind of thing, not really getting promoted, not really pushing forward, not really pushing back. They're just kind of a team right there that will win every 2 games or so, and then maybe get 1 draw, and then get 2 losses, and then win 2 games again, get 1 draw, 2 losses, and that will just kind of carry them forward, and just kind of keep pushing. Honestly, just keep pushing, and I feel that's what's gonna happen. Next up, at 14th, we have Union Berlin. Yes, the team that ended 11th last season. I have them at 14th. Last season was kind of just like a anomaly. I want to call it an anomaly. They're 3. I think they're going to end up 3 positions further back. I feel like last season they did very, very well. They showed that they deserve to be in the Bundesliga. They showed that they have their place there. But also, it's a thing was okay, you really have that push. With this strange season going on, you might not have that push anymore. So I think they're going to be 4th. They're going to drop a few places, 3 places, but not too many. The thing with momentum is always a thing. And that now that there has been a small break, but a small break, I feel like momentum is going to hamper them and kind of get them closer to the relegation spots, but not quite there, which is why I think they're going to end up at 14th. At 15th, I think it's Augsburg. Real talk, I think Augsburg's going to have the same position that they had last season, which is at 15th. They're not a team that has gotten better. They're not a team that has gotten worse. They're kind of just there, honestly. Like, they're kind of just there. They're a team that's like always flirting with relegation and sometimes getting relegated and coming back, but they're not flirting with relegation. They're a team that is just a team. They're a struggling side, but not struggling in the sense of, oh, we can't win games. More also struggling in the sense of not so much struggling in the sense of, oh, we can't get points, but more so struggling in the sense of that they can't win games. They'll draw games. If you look at their last season stats, they had 9 wins and 9 draws and 16 losses. If they can turn like 1 or 2 of those draws, they could get higher, but I don't see them. You look at their games they actually played, it's not really a case of we're like, oh yeah, we look fantastic. It's more so a case of, yeah, we earned those 3 points. Like, we worked to earn those 3 points. You know, we had to grind our teeth and work for those 3 points. So just from that perspective, I think they're going to end up at 15th, which is going to keep them just safe from relegation. But that's really that. At 16th, I'm going to change the list that I've had written here. For the last 3 spots. At 16th, I think it's going to be Stuttgart. And the only reason I'm putting Stuttgart above the team that I had previously there is that Stuttgart have Castro in their team as their captain. Now, the thing with Stuttgart as well is that they have a lot of injuries. So from that perspective, you know, they got promoted. Now they have a lot of injuries. But their captain has experience in the Bundesliga. So that's the only reason I'm putting them one position higher than I had them previously. I had them written at 17th and putting them on 16th. So, you know, in the playoff kind of game. So that's what I think they will end up being. And the primary reason for that is Gonzalo Castro being in their team, being their captain. He's gonna like push them forward. He's got the experience to kind of get a draw, you know, just secure a draw and kind of just see the games out. So I had them at 16. So who are my 2 guaranteed relegation spots? At 17th, I've got Werder Bremen. Werder Bremen last season was 16th. I think they're going to get one worse and get 17th. A team that hasn't really gotten better, hasn't really gotten worse. But I feel like it's time. I feel like I had them on 16th previous, you know, making the same position that they had last time in the 2019-2020 season. But I feel like looking at it, Stuttgart just has that one quality player. Just that's all. That's literally all I'm giving them. That one quality player, and just from that perspective, I'm like, yeah. I don't necessarily feel like Werder Bremen can be higher than them. I don't feel that way at all. So I'm just going to say that. Literally, Stuttgart above Werder Bremen and Werder Bremen on 17th. Just because of one player having experience, consistent experience at a relatively good level. And that's really what I'm doing. That's really where I'm putting them. Now, on 18th place. 18th place. I mean, by this time, it should come as no surprise if you know who the teams who are playing this season. 18th place is Arminia Bielefeld. They've actually looked relatively good in their friendlies so far in like the last few games that they've played. You know, they played against Groningen, got a 1-1 draw. They lost against Essen in the first round of the DFB Pokal. All right, like they're a team, you know, that they got promoted, and I unfortunately feel like they're gonna be getting relegated again. I feel like that's really their path. They get promoted and then get relegated. The Groningen result is the only thing that like makes me think like, maybe they can avoid that place, but I really don't. I don't see it. All right, I don't see it at all. That is just my fault. I could be wrong, of course. You know, who knows? But this is my prediction after all. So I'm giving you my prediction after all. If you want to see my prediction right now, this is. If it would focus. Okay, it won't focus. Yeah, focus. screw it. I'll have it on the screen for you lot, because the thing clearly doesn't want to focus. So I will be seeing whether my prediction turns out to be right or wrong. Let me know what you all think. Let me know what you all predict for this table for this season to go. I'll be seeing all of you in the next one, everyone, and until then, have a nice day. Peace out and